I would now like to invite Ms. Nahid Memon, Chief Executive Officer, Oracle Power PLC, to share a summary of the policy prescription presented to the Petroleum Division of the Ministry of Energy, Government of Pakistan.
Once again, thank you all for your patience and for your participation. You heard from China Coal with respect to both the prospects, potential, as well as their challenges. And so together with us, we have sort of worked out a draft suggestion for the government of Pakistan to deliberate upon. And of course, this has to be done in consultation with everybody here and everybody connected and interested in the development of this project. A couple of things before I just sort of very briefly go through this. So China Coal's Vice President spoke about the sort of the outputs there, the returns, etc., etc. Just bear in mind that that was done with the coal that they have there, our lignite coal, etc. For example, I was just looking at the numbers. So they spoke about a certain amount of coal to produce urea. We'll definitely be using more lignite coal because our calorific value is less and so on. So, but all of this will be apparent once technical, detailed feasibilities are done. Having said that, one thing is clear that from the outset, coal chemistry, especially coal to urea, which they pointed out is profitable for them, and even coal to liquid and petroleum-based products can be, but the coal that we have is technically feasible for coal chemistry. Now, it all then comes to the framework. At what prices do we do this, and how do we actually hold hands with the government and achieve a win-win situation for all? 45% of its total energy needs are imported. The critical gas shortage, as we all know, everyone here, that we have depleting natural gas reserves. So we have our options. We have TAPI, we have the IPI, we're importing LNG, and of course we can discover more natural gas. Discovering more natural gas would be the cheapest option. But now what we're doing here today is discussing the possibility of even a more viable option, which is coal to gas. Imran spoke about how this gas can be made into liquid, so it's either direct coal gasification and then gas into liquid, which is indirect liquefaction, or even DCL, which is direct liquefaction from coal. But those are all possibilities, and once again, all depends upon how these technical feasibilities appear. We have coal, we understand. We are also very cognizant of everything that the Honorable Special Assistant to the Prime Minister mentioned earlier, the environmental responsibilities, the issues that we face as a country, etc. So when I stand here in front of you, I wear two hats. I represent an international listed vehicle, which is clearly here to do business. But I also represent Pakistan. So I am sort of, you know, I want to tread a path which makes sense for both. I do want to mention this because I have, India has launched on a huge coal gasification program. They made a commitment to spend around $55 billion and so on. So this is here. This is how coal exploitation, extraction is moving now. This is the direction that we are going in all over the world. Now, whilst we talk about all of this, and I had a discussion a couple of months ago, just to give you a 30-second background. I met Mr. Asad Umar, and he said, go do this project. And I was sitting in front of him when he called Mr. Nadeem Babar, and he said, ye kyun nahi kar sakte? So, kar le. So I said, sir, policy nahi hai koi. So he said, policy nahi hai? So he said, koi policy nahi hai. So that was the impetus for this exercise, and hence we are here today. But this isn't for us or any one company. I hope that we can reach a consensus and mobilize this industry for all interested parties. So lignite is an inferior coal, but as I just already mentioned, it's okay for coal chemistry from what a specialist like China Coal tells us. So hence this is the time to sit down and deliberate and formulate a policy if we are to now move ahead in this direction, this industry, if it has to take off. A summary of why. Why do we need government support? Whereas I've been in government as well, so I understand the government's challenges. I know public policy making is really hard because you're always stuck between a rock and a hard thing. But having said that, investors need returns. And they need returns, at least in the short to medium term, with the help of the government, and then you can launch into a market environment, you can accelerate deregulation and so on. But in the short term, whilst you're undertaking a risky project, whilst you are dealing with international price volatility, and also you have a demand sort of uncertainty, you will need holding hands as a foreign investor, local investor, any company wanting to do business. So it's a new technology, certain uncertainties, risks. We have problems even within the government of Pakistan when it comes to, sort of being able to make payments and so on. And all of these things become very apparent to anyone who wants to come and do business in Pakistan. So we need to mitigate all these risks in a reasonable fashion. Very sort of, as I said, aware of the word reasonable here. So, although I know that this is, there are the power policy of 2015, the renewable policy which has just been launched, of course, but everything, all the power policies are being reviewed, and the government is trying to resort to a sort of a way to ensure that the private investors continue to benefit, but the government's burden and liabilities are reduced. We are all very well aware of that. But having said that, if we were to look at the power policies and the frameworks in place and take from that, we may not need to reinvent the wheel entirely. So the suggestion is to develop a policy which is applicable to all types of projects. So you have the private sector, of course, you have public-private partnerships, which I think are a great way to actually unleash large infrastructure development. And I think, unfortunately, in Pakistan, we have not really been able to do this very effectively. We haven't really been able to fund large infrastructure projects, and hence we are today, in my opinion, where we are. So those type of projects as well, projects developed by the public sector, of course, and then subsequently they can be divested. That's also a model to go with. India is doing that, by the way. How do we move forward? So we all understand how the power sector functions. So you've got a buyer. So we propose that there should be a buyer, either the gas companies or the Pakistan State Oil, etc. They become the buyers, and they issue you this letter of intent, but all based on the price that you propose. The price comes from the feasibility. If this price is not competitive, this LOI is not legally binding, has no meaning at all. So to sort of initiate the process, you need it has to begin from somewhere. Someone has to agree to take this from you. You simply cannot, when you invest billions of dollars, you simply cannot sell this privately without any assurance at all of an offtake. So that is the role of these public sector companies, depending upon what the coal is used for and how it is produced. Again, how do we proceed? Solicited projects. Projects which are recommended by the provincial government. That's always been a bone of contention, and I do mention that specifically. And then, of course, if there's an upfront tariff and the government of Pakistan so decides to actually formalize this and ascertain and decide a tariff or a return, then there could absolutely be proposals which are submitted against this upfront tariff. Again, I said public-private partnerships, bilateral agreements such as CPEC, or any other bilateral agreement that the government of Pakistan so decides to enter into, be it with, Russia, Uzbekistan, the UK, any other country with which it decides to do a bilateral project development agreement. And then, of course, you have projects which are funded, and there could be tiered financing from donor organizations, etc., and they could also participate. So this policy should actually be wholesome and cover all possible developmental modes. Again, I know that there is a lot of criticism about how power projects have been developed, but they happened, and I think it may be prudent to review and correct course, but also keep in mind the technical and financial challenges entailed in what we are planning to do now. So, I mean, these are just suggestions. We have a 10-year debt tenure for power. You know, we could potentially discuss this with investors, make it 15 years for gas, because I know that Pakistan is under a lot of payment obligations currently and so on. The rate of return, I know that the power projects that have been executed so far have been awarded higher rates of return, but then they were the front runners, they were the first movers, they took on the risk. There's always a learning curve, and so there will be in these projects as well. Having said that, even the regulators have learned, so there can be a optimization and a more accurate assessment of what could be then considered as legit returns. Equity flow, this is standard, how these projects are financed, 20%, 30%, etc. And I also believe that our local financiers have gained experience and are able to probably finance large projects better, as opposed to where they stood even a few years ago, because I think this capacity too has been built. So this learning of doing these large projects in the power sector and other infrastructure projects have also definitely made our regulators, government, consultants, advisors, bankers, investors, everyone absolutely more aware. So I think what pans out now will be probably much more worthy of attention. So to conclude, we presented this policy, but by no means this is an instruction to the government. We just took this upon ourselves to mobilize this dialogue because we are interested in working in Pakistan. We are interested in developing this project. We believe that this is the right way forward. And of course, I then request the Petroleum Division, Ministry of Energy, Government of Pakistan to take views, to consult, to bring everyone on the same page, and then deliver what could then be possible as a doable project for all interested in this sector. I thank you for your attention, for your patience, and for your participation, and for your very valuable comments, which I know will come as we go along. Thank you so much.